beautiful people of the internet! I'm finally back with a new video, and today we are going to talk about art studies and studying art in general. I am going to speak about why you should do it, why you should study art, what it entails, the way I personally go about it, and a few tips and tricks to send you off on the right path. So, first of all, why should you study art? Isn't art supposed to be a fun hobby, and isn't studying supposed to be not fun? If you just doodle on the weekends, it's okay to not study art, but if you're an artist that actually wants to get better, this is the absolute best way you can go about it, especially if you are a beginner. I often see beginners stumbling around and drawing the same thing over and over because they're afraid of learning something new. And learning something new, especially on this internet age, is extremely easy and it isn't as daunting as it can seem. Studying can be a really scary word, especially with all the negative connotations attached to it. But I can assure you that this studying is fun, it is actually worthwhile, and that you'll be so proud when you see the progress. So, how do I personally go about studying art or any subject at all? Well, I like to divide it in three different phases. The first one is learning the theory. The second one is something I like to call mindful practice. And the third one is simply practicing. It is important for me to tell you that this is in no way the only way you can go about studying art, and that the process isn't as nearly as linear as I'm about to put it, and you can be already very good at something and need to refresh on the theory every once in a while, and there's no shame in it. So, the first phase, studying the theory. Well, this can seem like the most boring phase, but it is one that is very necessary, especially when something is absolutely new to you. Some examples that I like to share about doing theory where it helps the most is, for example, perspective. Do you think you'd be able to notice that all the lines seem to fade to one point if you didn't know that point was there? That is an example how theory can change the way you look at the world and the way you draw. Regarding this, I am going to leave a few resources in the description with people here on YouTube that do an amazing job at sharing the theory about a few different subjects. I can't really share everything I've used to learn because it's a lot of things and it's hard to find some of them, and not all of them are in YouTube. But whatever the topic it is you want to learn, I suggest you make a quick look around, because most artists on YouTube share tutorials and classes, and they are actually very good, some of them, if you know how to look, and they are completely free. This technique is the most helpful when you want to learn something technical in art. When you want to learn, for example, about perspective or anatomy or color theory, because these are really universal subjects that you'll get to learn about them no matter what the source is. For everything else, and even from those, or however, learning the theory is often not enough, and you have to practice. And that brings us to our next phase, that is mindful practice. What is mindful practice? Well, for me, it is basically applying all the theory you've learned while keeping your mind engaged. So, in this phase, you're basically trying to train your hands or your feet or whatever you use to draw to think in tandem with your mind. To, for example, with anatomy, you may learn the shapes the muscles have, but it won't mean a thing if you don't know how to actually draw them. That's why it's important when some of these teachers prescribe exercises and techniques that you actually go and try to do them and try to use them. Just focused on it, not really wanting to apply it to something big, just learning the very basics and training your eyes and your hands to do what your mind wants them to. This is, for me, the most important phase of all. This is something you cannot skip because it it would mean nothing if you had a theory of anatomy, for example, and then you try to apply it to a cartoon character without really understanding it and without your hand being able to draw what you're thinking about, and that experience just sounds so frustrating. However, this phase is actually, for me at least, the hardest because you can't really let any little mistake slip. Because if you do, you'll just be forming a bad habit, and as I always love to say, it is much more difficult to break a bad habit than it is to make a good one. And in this ways, you want to make it as perfect as you can. It can be really frustrating too, because before you learn the theory, your drawings could look okay or even beautiful, and now you are able to see all the little mistakes you couldn't before. And it can be really easy to get demotivated by that, but please don't, because the fact that you can see the little mistakes means that now you know they're there, and now you know that you can fix them. It can take a while to be perfect at it, but you're on a good path. You can don't get frustrated because of it, please. After you finally get your hand and your eyes used to it, and when you can't really see many of the mistakes you could see before when they're fixed, you will go to the next phase, and that is the actually fun phase. It is what I just call practice. Going back to my example of the cartoon character now that you can draw the anatomy properly, you are now able to bend it and apply it to your own style. And you will see now that your current drawings will be much better than the old ones, simply because you've learned to fix the little mistakes and because you've learned something new. And hooray! Now that you've done all the steps, you'll be able to apply the theory that you've learned to your art, to your stuff, and the things you really love to do. And you'll be better off for it, for you having put in the time and the effort to do it, to learn. Well, I guess that's all I have to say about it, so I'll skip ahead and talk a little about the art you can see on screen. This is a study in itself, really. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll be able to see that I mainly draw girls, and that lately I have been really interested in doing portraits. And the fact that I don't really know how to draw boys was really hindering me, and so I decided to just focus, take a few references off the internet, and just try to pay attention and do portraits of them. I really like the results. I guess it turned out really good just because all the practice I've done on drawing female faces really comes across even as I'm trying to learn something new. The bases are there. I just need to build something a little different off of them. And follow me, ring the notification bell and make sure to select all notifications The link to my Instagram is down below in the description. Have a great day and always keep creating. Bye!